Now, the way that spyware is distributed today is really not a whole lot different than it was in the past. It is, however, much more prevalent because of the wide use of the internet today compared to that of, let's say, about 10 years ago.
Yes. And the most common method of distribution is spyware, which is bundled with or included in software that you download for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the wonderful freeware or shareware software that we all have access to normally has some type of spyware included inside the application. Now, haven't you asked yourself, how can these programs produce all of this free software?
Well, I just thought they were very generous.
They're actually not. They have to get paid somehow. And they get paid by gathering information about you that they can turn around and sell to advertisers, or the really bad guys just steal your bank account information and take money directly from you. Now, along with the freeware and shareware software, we also have those wonderful torrents or other websites such as Pirate Bay that have illegal copies of software, movies, or music for you to download for free. And we know what free means. Now,
right.
Many of these have spyware included within them.
There are, however, some other websites that are riddled with spyware installations, and I bet that you can guess them without me even telling you. If your users or you are visiting pornography sites, gambling sites, or even some of the hacking sites, then you're going to end up with spyware installed on your PC. No questions asked, these websites are some of the most dangerous on the internet today. These pop-up windows will oftentimes request an ActiveX installation or some other program, which then installs the spyware. This is something known as drive-by download.
Okay, yes. Now, how many times have you had a pop-up on your screen that tells you that you have a virus infection? Have you ever said, oh no, I need to do something about this, and clicked on the button to have it removed? Right, many of us have fallen for this, not sure if it's legitimate or not. Let me tell you, they are not legitimate. They will, however, happily install spyware on your PC and tell you that the virus has been removed.
Now, anti-spyware is software that goes out and it searches for and finds spyware for you. Now, what is interesting is that some anti-spyware will find and remove spyware that exists on your PC while simultaneously installing its own spyware. It's like a circular loop we get into. So you have to love that one.
Yes, and a few other types of spyware distribution methods include peer-to-peer distribution, cracked software, and toolbars installed in your web browser.
Now, friends send friends spyware. Have you ever received a free song or a movie from one of your friends? So where did they get it? They may have received it from someone else who downloaded it from Pirate Bay. And trust me, it's full of spyware. So as we discussed before, software that is downloaded from places like Pirate Bay is usually cracked with software which contains spyware within it.
Yes. Now, when you sit behind a PC of someone that you barely know, you can quickly see if they consider security important in any way, shape, or form. Now, how can you tell? Because oftentimes an individual who cares nothing for security will have about 4 search engine toolbars installed on their system, which is a lot. And yes, many of them are nothing but spyware. Security professionals recommend that you stay away from any search engine toolbar that is not approved by Microsoft, Mozilla, or Chrome.
That's correct. So thinking about the type of activities that spyware is going to perform on our PC, we have to remember that it's going to be installed in a hidden manner, and that program itself would be hidden from the user. It's going to monitor the user activity, and then it will transmit that information in the background back to the hacker.
Yes. Now, even though it's operating in the background, it is still utilizing computer resources such as memory, CPU, and of course, internet connection bandwidth.
That's right.
Now, spyware will often lead to system crashes and most definitely slows down your PC. People often think they need a new PC when really they're just riddled with spyware.
So if you end up with a home page that is changed on your web browser and you have no idea how it happened, it's really likely that you'll find out that you're going to have spyware installed on your PC. Also, if you see unwanted windows open in a web browser, it's, again, likely that you have spyware installed on your PC. Spyware is very seldom the only piece of malicious software installed on your computer. Usually a PC that has one infection is going to have many, many more. Since the software utilizes your system resources, having many pieces of spyware installed causes a great performance degradation.
Now, some of the spyware will disable your firewall and antivirus and also change your web browser's security settings. Some of the software is sophisticated enough to remove anti-spyware programs that you have installed to help mitigate these issues. Now, in rare cases, spyware can also modify settings on your operating system, which often makes your PC very unstable.
That's correct.
Yes. And the common types of known spyware are desktop, email, video, print, screen capture, and USB spyware. All of this have unique properties that cause them to perform slightly different than their neighbor. Video spyware is going to be embedded within a video. Screen capture software is going to capture pictures of your screen, and so on. Just keep in mind that any activity that the user can perform on a legitimate PC can also be performed within any spyware software.
That's right. Now, PowerSpy is a product by eMatrix that was developed to run on the newer operating systems such as Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 like I have here. This is a legitimate software that we're demonstrating. Now, hackers will sometimes use legitimate software, but more often they're going to go ahead and have created their own software that they're controlling 100% of the development on. I have already downloaded and installed PowerSpy, so let's go ahead and take a look at its features. Now, the first thing that we can see to take a note of is that it has a built-in keylogger, so it can log in all keystrokes on that system where it's installed. The keylogger can take screenshots just like other keyloggers on the market. Now, this can also record Facebook logins and any type of web-based logins. As we look at the configuration, you'll see that we can run the software in complete stealth mode, and it'll be 100% hidden from the user. Like other types of programs in this market space, there is a hotkey that you can use to bring the program forward so that you can change the settings and, of course, see any of the recorded information. You can also enable the password protection so that when the program is brought up, then you have to have a password in order to log in. So this is provided during the installation, but you can also change the password later on. We'll go ahead and change the password right now just so we can show you how to do that. So you can see here under the Log and Report tab that this software will log alphanumeric keys, any of the documents opened, screenshots, Yahoo Messenger, chat. Actually, it'll log any chat software that is installed on the system. There are many additional settings here as well with the system keys, microphones, Skype, chat clipboard, all of the things of this nature. You can forward this log information to an FTP or email. Under the Delivery tab is where you can change the settings both to send the email reports and or forward the logs to an FTP server. Now, regarding the email, you can set up and utilize your own email account, which, of course, would be a risk because it could be traced back to you. Normally, you would use an untraceable account to have that information sent to. And of course, the settings here for FTP are fairly straightforward. You would put in the FTP host, the username, and password, and it looks a lot of times you'll find hackers using an anonymous FTP that somebody left out of the website. Now, I know of an individual in the Netherlands that's part of a group of hackers, and his only responsibility within that group is to find FTP sites that have anonymous accounts set up so that the hackers can later use them to store illegal data on them. Now, under the Screenshots tab, you can see that it's set up to capture the screenshots every 3 seconds. Now, where And we're going to go ahead and change that to 1 second just for the purpose of this demonstration. I wouldn't really utilize 1 second in a real-world scenario, but this will at least give you the full amount of detail available for our demonstration. You can set the image format and quality of that format. Notice they only have JPEG initially here, and the image size, you can change the size of the image to something smaller rather than the maximum of 100%. You can choose to send the images to the email FTP, or you can choose not to. That really depends on what you want to do. In any case, you can also limit the amount of information you have sent across. So let's go ahead and apply these changes now. We'll start monitoring and see what happens. Notice that even though the spyware is active, it is still visible to the user. In order to change that, we'll click on Stealth Mode here, and then it will pop up and tell us that the hotkey reminder so that we can remember how to get back in. And in this case, we're using Control-Alt-X. So let's go ahead and click Yes on the confirm question. Okay, now that this is running in the background of a user, all we have to do is wait patiently. Now, let's act like a user would and go ahead and move over to Hotmail and attempt to log in. Yes, we'll attempt to log in with a fake account just for testing purposes. Any guesses on the password that I used? We'll find that out later. So now, let's go ahead and sign in, and as you would expect, we get an incorrect username and password because we're using a fake account. So let's go ahead and come over here to our documents and create a new document to see how that works with the spyware. So now I'm going to create a file called credit card, and of course we'll put in a fake credit card number just for testing purposes. Now, of course, we also need the security code and expiration date. Now that's done. Let's go ahead and bring up the software. So we use the hotkeys, Control-Alt-X, and we can see this pop up. So let's click Run, enter your password, click Submit, and away we go. So let's choose Stop Monitoring, and now we can check out the logs. Now let's select the purple title called Documents. We see a single entry for documents. We can see that the username admin was created and the document's details underneath it. So there is the credit card number, security code, and expiration dates all listed right there here, nice and neat. Next, we can take a look at all of the screenshots that are available to us, so we can see what the user was doing the entire time. Check out Outlook, of course. And now you can see here the exact screenshot with the email account listed, but of course we do not see the password. But since this also captures the keystrokes, you can click here on the keystrokes logs and we should be able to find what we need. So we can see here that we had the Program Explorer, we see the Notepad, and then we see another Explorer window. And then right here is the Mozilla Firefox window, which has the Hotmail URL contained in it. All right. Now, here on the right, under the keystrokes content, we can see that we did the Hotmail Control-Enter to go ahead and get into the hotmail.com, and we can see that test spyware shift at hotmail.com. Well, it looks like we had a backspace here because there was a mistake, and then we can see the actual password itself, which was omtest spyware. Now it's clear that it captured everything written on the keyboard. Now this was really fairly easy to find, but if the individual was using webmail and did a lot of typing, this would be a little bit more challenging. All right, so that's good news, right? We have everything that we needed. PowerSpy, of course, is a commercial product that one can purchase or use the free version. And this would be found by any legitimate antivirus software, so we would need to hide this from the antivirus solution.